So I understood that the things that you're good at now are based on the habits that you had that created the sort of skill that you have.
Exactly.
So now it's based on the habit that you have the skill. It's not based on the skill itself. So like in Cyprus, what I did is that I decided that, okay, you know what, I'm an African, so I'm united.
Yeah.
I love my people.
Yeah.
So I decided that I'm going to shake every African's hand I come across on my way home.
Yeah.
I was tired by the time I got to her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's impossible. That's not it.
Yeah.
People only unite based upon when there's a common problem. But the common problem is based on a common reality. Because in my understanding, in law, the Lord doesn't make no mistakes.
Yeah.
So the reason why He will create people that have and create people that do not have is because the people that have to learn how to share. The people that don't have to learn how to receive.
Exactly. Yeah. How are you guys? We about to blow up.
All the way up.
I just want to give you that idea that this is a space whereby you can let loose, sit back, relax.
Welcome to the next thing that's gonna blow up. If you're coming for the first time, this is the place where we bring you the blowing up people. We do not fall short of that, I guarantee you. And today, we're bringing you another fire individual, Mr. Allan Lloyd, all the way in Bremer. This is a special episode. Look at the sunset, man.
Bremer. This is the side that the other people from Babane won't let you see. About Bremer. This is the good side.
Not the business shit. Every time I'm coming down here, I'm always worried. I'm like, the people, everything, bro. It's crazy, man.
No. It's you can even see the atmosphere is cool. It's just this is exactly how it is, and this is the type of branding that we want to be able to push out, so that we want more tourists to come through. That will come spend. We have good times. There are people like me, young entrepreneurs who come on.
There are people like you blowing up people, my G.
Come on.
Yeah. So anyway, bro, just introduce yourself before we dive deeper into the conversation, brother.
I guess my name is Allan Lloyd. Really, I grew up here in Bremer. Local. I would like to think I've been around. I am a philosopher. I am a founder of an NGO called I'm an African. Which is basically an organization that focuses on solving social problems as well as financial problems. We figured that it's important that we sort of create a position within our society that focuses on solving problems. I guess like a researcher, but one that is sort of proactive in the sense that it's not waiting for you to come and tell me that there's a problem. We are actively sort of monitoring and evaluating exactly what's going on and then suggesting strategies that actually work.
Yeah, I think that's a different angle to come up with, because a lot of Africans out there, we are good at complaining.
Yeah.
It's one thing I hate attending workshops for these days, because it's the same problems over and over. Next workshop, be it it's an agriculture workshop, it's a whatever industry, it's the same problems. We don't get funding, we don't get what. So it's an interesting approach. But I'm just curious, how did the name come from? The I'm an African name. Where did it originate from, really?
Okay, so interesting story. Okay, yeah, interesting story. I think at least it's best I like say it once and for all, so at least a lot of people can understand. So I went to university in Cyprus. So when I was there, leaving SD, I was on it's time to be Steve Jobs. It's time to change my life now. I'm done with games. It's serious. This is what I've been telling my mom about. This is me now. So when I do get to Cyprus, I sort of go through somewhat of a transformation. I was glad, or I was just happy at the fact that most of my friends that I knew back home didn't come with me there. So I was able to sort of change my character.
Start all over.
Yes, and then but now, I guess I had read a certain book about The Science of Getting Rich. And then I also read another book about habits. So I understood that the things that you're good at now are based on the habits that you had that created the sort of skill that you have.
Exactly.
So now it's based on the habit that you have the skill. It's not based on the skill itself. So you change your habits, you change the skills that you have. So what you have to do every day is just make sure that you set that timetable that, let's say, every day at 4 o'clock, you start programming. And every day at 4 o'clock, you start programming. And it's that habit that will guarantee you with those great skills. So I ended up now changing my lifestyle in order for me to tune it towards the sort of outcome that I wanted to have. So I started focusing on entrepreneurship. And then I learned that you have to be able to sort of create a goal. A goal is very important just as a guiding sort of pathway, because in life you keep on meeting different circumstances that can easily get you off your rock your boat, but you have to have a certain destination, because the moment sort of tornado comes and changes your direction, you have to know where your compass is. So that's what your goal is. So my goal is to earn 600 billion.
600
billion.
Yeah.
So I want to do this just to sort of show off. Come on, I'm an African. Come on.
Oh yeah, you just want to show them.
Yeah, because I felt that in history, if you look at the richest people in history, Mansa Musa, the African king, is at 400 billion. But to me, I was like, he wasn't like a proper, true reflection of a young African entrepreneur.
Exactly.
He was just merely a king.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to the situation. It's just that he's well known for the gold and the salt that was in the land.
Exactly.
It wasn't for some sort of, innovation.
Like solving a particular problem.
Yeah, like we I'm sure we have a lot of different, great people within our, like Bob Plato and them, but our equivalents. But the problem is that when it comes to money, we only have recent people like Aliko Dangote. But to me, I felt like now it's time for me to show them, so that's where that comes in.
Oh, you want to be showing the Alikos?
Yeah. No. It's time that we're able to sort of set the situation quick. So I think what happened now is that it dawned on me, how do I earn 600 billion?
Exactly.
So I started writing down, I want to earn 600 billion on a book. I bought a book and I wrote it down I think on maybe 150 pages, just each line.
I want 600 billion.
It's crazy that the more you write a thing, the more it starts to make sense to you.
Exactly.
So this is what my mind gave to me as an answer for me to be able to reach 600 billion. I looked and there were 1.1 billion Africans in Africa. So I was like, if I can get a product for 600 and sell it to every African, then...
You already
long time. Long time. But so then now the issue was like, how then am I going to get Africans in a position to buy my product? You understand? So I needed to be able to create a product that's tuned towards them. And that's where the concept of I'm an African came from. So I'm an African is a term that I was sort of a branding term towards Africans themselves, to represent Africans. But now as I started to sort of brand and push out the brand, I started to notice how different we are. I started to notice different concepts that we like using in terms of unity.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of these concepts we do not understand, but we use them very loosely. In the sense that a lot of people talk about African unity, but have no understanding of the essence of unity amongst the people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in Cyprus, what I did is that I decided that, okay, you know what, I'm an African, so I'm united.
Yeah.
I love my people.
Yeah.
So I decided that I'm going to shake every African's hand I come across on my way home.
Yeah.
I was tired by the time I got to her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's impossible. That's not it.
Yeah.
People only unite based upon when there's a common problem. But the common problem is based on a common reality.
Exactly.
And then that's where now I guess you start to understand the whole concept of I'm an African, is that I'm trying to create a common reality amongst people who at least want to see Africa develop, so that we are saying that this is the Africa that we know and understand currently, and we're willing to start from here to build up. So it's like more of a statement of a philosophical statement of awareness, to say that we now know exactly who we are.
Yeah, but then it's crazy because, like, looking at Africa, I was looking at these statistics and it was saying we have about 3,000 languages, over 3,000 languages in Africa. And when you look at a language, it's usually a nation. They would like to call it a tribe, but it's a whole nation. If it's Siswati, if there are people speaking Siswati, it's a whole nation of Siswati. You go to another Zulu, it's a nation. You go to Xhosa, it's a nation. So we have over 3,000 nations in these 54 countries. How do you plan to unite these people? Because, man, you just speak a different language. Niggas don't think you're the same.
Yeah,
you might
yeah.
look the same.
Yeah.
You might all look, have the same color.
Yeah.
But you just start clicking and you are not clicking.
Yeah.
You are no longer the same.
So, interesting enough,
Yeah.
you asked that. How I discovered that, or how to do that, was that I started analyzing exactly our problems and started to notice that our problems are not unique. As much as we like to think that these are African problems, corruption is also still wherever you think
Yeah,
it might not
exactly,
be.
yeah.
It's exactly there. And if you look at,
it's an English term.
I mean, like if you look at stuff like the dark web, stuff that we don't even really understand properly,
Exactly.
this type of crimes that are going on
Bro,
there, like,
exactly.
yo, it's mad. So I'm like, I started to notice that the problem we had was not an African one, and I felt that was the limitation that we were having upon ourselves. That we felt that our stew was different, but it wasn't. It was just a different flavor of a human stew.
It's a human challenge.
Yo.
That's it.
So with that said, is that I started to focus on now how to solve these things, not from an African perspective, but from a human perspective. And I wasn't limiting myself towards African literature. I was reading any literature I could get because I believe that knowledge has no color.
Yeah,
Neither has it
exactly.
have no race.
Exactly.
The moment it's in a book, even if I find it in the jungle, I will read it. And if it does good for me, I will use those principles.
Exactly. It does not matter. It's whatever, Aristo, whatever.
You see? So what happened now is that in me analyzing all of these things, I got to understand that there are certain problems within society that we all have to face, and it's either going to be a social problem
Or a financial problem.
That's it. And that's why I said that I'm an African only source.
Those two challenges.
So with that said, on top of that is that the way that colonization has been able to sort of, set up a unified system all through Africa, in the sense that before we had different tribes, different systems based upon the different environment that we came from. But now with the fact that we have states, every sort of country can bet on has a city council.
Exactly.
So what happens is that we have to now be able to create solutions based upon the current environment that's here, and that is the city council. So any sort of ideology that you have has to be able to work from a city council. So I think we've been able to establish somewhat of a system that can operate from city council, and then because now we can just be able to create somewhat of networks or an exchange of information based. So just to give you an example, is that Babana can focus upon the production of cosmetical
products,
and then we can focus on value addition here in Bremer, and then we can be able to sort of send information to let your guys know how much stock we have. You tell us how much stock your guys have. We let your guys know how much of your product is selling in our shop. So you let us know how much of our product is selling in our shop. Now next thing, Steg is calling me.
Exactly.
Steg is telling me that they need this. I'm like, okay, wait, I heard Malken says something. I'm calling
Malken.
and that's it there. So it has to be an interconnected network of city councils that operate individually but are working within the same network, where they're working for the development of the whole.
But then where are we going to get the guap to do that, to finance this whole system? Because I understand the system, but now the guap, where are we going to get the money, the bag to finance the system?
Okay, so I guess that has been the
biggest
elephant in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever it comes to things, I feel like a lot of people probably don't understand exactly how or where money is, or how money is sort of distributed.
No principles of money,
or even how a business moves. Because let me create this distinction. Number one, there's a difference between, I've always told you, the employer and the employee.
Exactly.
So we separate the two. After that, and then we can now start talking about where we get the guap. So we need to be able to ensure that the employers are the ones that initiate. They don't get the money initially. That is much more.
There is no reward at the initial stage.
That's risk. The risk is less if you don't have the person who's getting the money doesn't have the power to be able to abuse the money.
I check.
That it's going now towards
the
business
itself.
Yeah. So I guess we have to be able to actually create actual demand. Number two, in the sense that random buying, for example, is not part of it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the guap is already here from the banks. We just have to understand exactly how they speak, and then after that, we then start either speaking to them, or if there's a problem, we find ways in which we can invite other banks here that can be able to hear our tunes, because the bank is nothing more than a retailer. If, for example, there's a retailer that doesn't want to work with the nation, then we can say, okay, thank you. We can, the same way that we do with the textiles or any sort of for foreign direct investments, we can be able to give them some sort of incentives in order for them to be able to come, but help us. That's the underlining.
You know, it's interesting. You just reminded me of the Ethiopian president. I don't know if you followed that guy, Prime Minister Abiy, if I remember very well. Nigga, the period he's been in power, I don't know, I think it's 2-3 years. The guap he's been bringing in the country, bro. Isn't it they're building like the biggest dam in Africa right now? It's in Ethiopia. They're in BRICS right now. I mean, if I'm just gonna ask any random nigga, even the people watching right now, like, what do you think of Ethiopia? They're gonna think of wars and whatever. But it got admitted into BRICS. It's a sign. Ethiopia, it's moving. The dam, they're building a city, bro, a smart city right now, like a whole town. They're like starting from grassroots level. They're building money, and I feel like the nigga understood how to bring in money, and it comes from understanding the system, and that's where we don't even sit down to try to understand how does money work. You know, what are the economic movers of money? How's money supply? All these things we don't know. We're just like, there's no money.
I think it's like even just understanding how money moves. So money moves in what I call like financial institutions. It doesn't. If I had 100,000 now, that would be pointless unless it was going into some sort of financial institution.
Exactly.
It's a financial institution that gives the money the value. It's not the money itself. So once you are able to own financial institutions in terms of a business, in terms of a bank, in terms of a school, in terms of a grocery shop, in terms of a spaza, you have a financial institution that money is showcased to be able to go. You just have to sort of find a route. And I feel a lot of people don't understand. So anytime someone says they want to get money, they're always talking about the concept of hustling, which is merely like, going under the carpet just to find coins. No. If you really want money, you have to create a financial institution.
But then, nigga, I don't have transport. What am I gonna do? I don't have food. I feel like that's where also some of these things come. Like, most niggas I met, like, you don't, and from the family, niggas are like, yo, bro, you are over, if I say 18 and 7, you're over 30. What are you still doing here? How then do you deal with those kind of situations?
I think I'm not going to stand here and sort of, try and make it seem that everyone is capable within their own situation. No, other people are actually suffering.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I know.
Actually suffering.
Exactly.
Like, and for anyone to come and with some sort of moral, standard to say that, no, you have to push, that's a lie. It's trying to make them think that in every situation that they've been, their success or their solution was based on them realizing it.
Exactly.
But that's not true. Some of us get hit with different things every day.
Bro, it's a train.
Stuff that will make you start questioning your family members. Like, no.
Like, I'm in the wrong family.
No. This one, I understand that, but this. So I think to put it at that, the first step is well-being. Ask yourself, are you happy?
Exactly.
That's the first thing. Even if ask yourself, are you happy? Because a lot of times we tend to sort of put commercialism as a sort of, burden within ourselves when it's not necessary.
Exactly.
There are other people that are comfortable with not being entrepreneurs, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly, yeah.
A lot of people have to be, I guess, adopt the concept of of inclusivity, not just in the terms of sexes, but in the terms of different preferences, in the terms of just being able to accept your views.
Exactly.
You understand? So I feel like there are other people who ultimately are being naive and have the resources in order for them to be able to make the change. And I feel that it's those people that need to actually stand up and stop sort of sitting on their asses, because in my understanding, in law, the Lord doesn't make no mistakes.
Yeah.
So the reason why he will create people that have and create people that do not have is because the people that have to learn how to share. The people that don't have to learn how to receive.
Exactly.
But like, have a situation where the people that have to give you.
Yeah.
That's why you have. You don't have so you can have more. That's not that makes no sense. You have in order for you to be able to create.
To give, exactly.
Yeah, you have to learn the concept of charity. That's why you were plagued with wealth.
Exactly.
But then it's like a situation where now a lot of people tend to sort of not do it nicely and become greedy, and that's when now you start to find a lot of these messed up situations. I feel like no one has more value than another person in humanity, no matter what race, class, or whatever ideology that you can create. We are all of the same atom, same essence. There's no difference between me or you. They're just merely skin deep.
That's it.
And maybe psychologically you might think that just because At the end of the day, if a volcano erupted, that wouldn't matter.
Exactly. No
You
matter.
are calling me, say where you at? The car's stuck.
Exactly, bro. Let's bounce.
So to me, I feel like at the end of the day, a lot of people have to understand that we have to cooperate with each other. And so that's the message in the sense that the people that have the opportunities to be able to share, please do give out, help other people so that the other people that are unfortunate are able to receive and also help themselves. But do not sort of, what you call this?
Spoon feed?
Yeah, also take sort of some sort of, pride of the fact that you're helping. No, that's wrong. Do it with a good heart. Do not expect. Do it because it is good.
Exactly.
There's some sort of mysticalness towards that. And then also it's like from the receiving side, receive with a good heart. Not everyone is going to be on top every day.
Exactly.
Just like the economic graphs.
Yeah.
There's no economic graph I've ever seen. And economic graphs, remember, are based upon human activity.
Exactly. So, and it's always, bro.
So to me, it's like a lot of people have to understand the importance of community support and community unity. And those are one of the elements that we try to push.
But can we say venture capitalism is a way that we should adopt as Africans? Because I don't know. I usually say I don't want to give a statement like as Africa, because I've never been anywhere else apart from Africa. So I can't say as Africans we do this. Like what am I comparing with? But from the movies that I watch, I see venture capitalism as the thing that has driven Silicon Valley to where it is. And I've never been personally exposed to venture capitalism in Africa. Could you say it's one solution we need for those haves to give the have-nots so that we can at least try to balance the equation, or at least I
think maybe doing crowdfunding operations, because also a lot of us tend not to also understand the power of the masses. In the sense that if we're able to create some sort of crowdfunding event, if everyone just put like maybe 10 rand, we'd be able to create a massive, but then also we have to collaborate. So I think maybe the venture capitals you can, but the problem is the fact that most of the venture capitals usually use the stock market to be able to move up and down,
Exactly.
But the stock market itself has to be very volatile.
And bro, our market don't move.
But there are mechanisms that I know that we have been sort of I guess thinking about in terms. I know in South Africa, what happens is that there's a guy who sort of has a farm, and then now you go to the website and then you are able to sort of he will put that I'm going to buy chickens. So put the total amount for this chicken, this batch is like maybe 50,000. Invest and you'll be able to get this much, because he already probably has a contract with the retailer.
Okay.
So what happens now is that he'll wait for a certain period. Anyone who's put is always put. If you haven't, then he'll probably finish it off. And then now he'll have the chickens and everything will happen. By the time the chickens are sold, probably 6 weeks later, you'll get your profit. Doing something like that creates a way in which it's able to sort of, the market is able to react somewhat volatile in terms of, you say, stock market, in the sense that you can put your money now and then you can actually get something now. Creating companies that sort of move according to that, or even we'd have to create like a large stock market in order for us to be able to think that, because other investors, because most of the stock market things are also being invested by other
investors
from other
from
countries.
outside. Exactly.
You understand what I mean? So it's a larger structure that I think we're not there yet. My answer is let us start small. Let us not fear starting new. Let us not fear actually creating a new system and a new perspective. In fact, we're supposed to involve ourselves a lot within this concept called market chain development.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the concept of maybe let me say the chain of suppliers that a product goes through in order for it to be able to get towards a particular. And so once we're able to understand exactly that we are in an emerging market, and in an emerging market, usually the producer and the retailer are usually there. Once not, there are the businesses in between. And the best, I think, solution that I've been able to discover has been market chain development. So I think maybe if we can now start sort of looking at market chain development, which then again comes back to the sort of community support and working together concept, where now if you are farming maize, I can be able to now find a seller of that for that maize. But I'm not helping you farm. I'm just
the
producer.
I become the middleman.
No. You actually farm.
Oh, I'm the farmer.
And then I'm the middleman now between you and probably another trader or even like a agro processing company. So I think there are lots of different opportunities for us right now. We just have to be able to educate ourselves, and I think a lot of youth would do a lot, maybe from coming even to the organization or coming down to us to be able to find out exactly some of these opportunities or some of these strategies that they can be able to use, and just probably a different understanding they can use in terms of also how loans work, exactly when to get a loan, because a lot of people don't understand that you're not supposed to go to a loan when you start the business. You're supposed to get some sort of grant. That is where you get to understand your sort of weekly demand or in a sense your weekly supply, and it's that number
that you can use on the loan application.
Yeah, so you will multiply that number 4 times to get how much you're making in a month. That number is essential. Without that number, nothing you do in the cash flow works. So it's very important that anytime you start a business, you have to go through the period of actually understanding your demand. And it's that number that you now take towards
the bank or the venture, whatever we're talking about.
But you don't just take just a number and say that come plug in with actual feedback from
the market.
Yeah,
you test it in the market.
Say that Mr. Dlamini, Mr. Dlamini, his shop is here, and show them that these people are real people.
The data is real. It's not
this guy has paid me 4 times in the last month. This guy has paid me 3 times, and to show them that you're actually in the situation, and then also just try and understand exactly that the corporate world is not you understand straight like a law. You understand there are mistakes that and lots of different situations that you have to be able to understand. So that's why it's also important to be resilient. Do not give up.
Anyway, speaking of the whole market chain, I feel like it's an issue of habit. We have been doing things the wrong way for a long period of time, so we have the wrong habit. So if I'm going to open a chicken dust, Vugan is going to open a chicken dust. So and so is going to open a chicken dust, and before we know it, the whole street is chicken dust, and nobody tries to go and look at what's the market chain saying. Where can I feed it? Maybe now I need to produce the chicken, or not even produce the chicken, produce the produce, like the feed for the chicken, and supply all these niggas that are breeding chicken. But we only look at one particular level of the market. Now my question is, how do we break the habit? So that we get the people, the Africans out there to understand that there's a whole market chain. Let's fill in different, and that's when we start seeing actually GWAP coming in. And then when we have that, even the banks can support such a system, because they are different. You are not a risk. You are not one man.
In fact, you have to also be smart on where you create your bank account, because you have to look for a bank that you would get a loan from.
Exactly.
So they are able to see from their system their own
data, like every day,
like financial statements. It's them. Oh wait, you have account here. Okay, what's your account? Clack clack. They see
the data, like the transactions, money coming in,
and show them that this same paper that you're trying to show them is the same one
they have. Exactly.
So I think that's the situation. But I wanted to give you like a realistic point of view, so at least the viewers can be able to also just lean into the concept.
Before you go there, have you subscribed? Make sure you subscribe. Here, I told you, we're bringing you fire blowing up info. Where do you get this for free?
Come on,
my G. Anyway, go in. Make sure you subscribe.
Okay, so if you look at the mechanic industry or the automobile, specifically the mechanic industry, if you start to study the sort of market chain of it, so they are the actual mechanics. They are the people who do with the parts, which can be your tires, they can be your actual auto value, it can be your other shops, and then and then there are also your engineering. So that are like different segments within the same sort of industry. What happens now is that a lot of people end up flooding the servicing part. That is just doing the mechanics. And that particular sort of sector within the chain,
it's saturated.
Has got no way to sort of protect it from the problems of saturation.
Exactly.
What I mean by that is that the price volatility, where now the price will be pushed down. It's like the concept of, you see, when you have autos. You put a little bit of orders, and that's like the actual profit. And then now when you put a lot of people as water, you end up not even tasting the profit.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly the same concept of when it's saturated. But more importantly, it doesn't have structures to prevent it
from being saturated.
That's the problem. For example, just like how you find when it comes to bottle stores. with bottle stores, you can't just go and put a bottle store anywhere. You can't just say, yeah, I'm opening a business in a bottle store. There's like a process where you get a permit. From that permit, we're able to see if you won't be sort of a threat to any other bottle store, because the people who sort of have bottle stores pay sort of, licenses to them. So they need to make sure that these people keep on paying every year. And the only way that they can do it is by ensuring that the market is secure.
Exactly.
So there's no such structures for the mechanic situation. What you find now is that most of the part shops end up getting the most from because there are a few.
Exactly.
Wherever competition is a lot, profit
goes down.
So don't try to become Leonidas from 300. You understand?
Yeah,
don't go against the Persians. It's not worth it.
Exactly.
Let's find new markets. Let's find niche markets. There are so many different business strategies and tactics that can be used in order for us to be able to survive. But one important thing that needs to be done is you need to read. You need to read. Without reading is the best way in which the mind is able to sort of, get everything or get different concepts in the same page.
Exactly.
There's not a lot of different forms in terms of senses that can probably do that. So I think a lot of people have to get used to reading and understand that it's not just us living in the world. And just because you don't see the Americans, just because you don't see the Chinese, just because you don't see the Russians, just because you don't see all of the other people, it doesn't mean that they're not there. So it doesn't mean that they also don't want part of the global market.
Exactly.
They are also actively pushing
to
get a better life for themselves. But you have to understand that there's one market. So all of us have to be able to, to stand up and actually, say that the African sort of, we haven't played cards in a while. So it's time that we as a whole play now some boss cards. And I think that's the push but we have to be comfortable with starting slow. We have to be comfortable with rebuilding our Africa brick by brick.
This is where we say, at this point, we need the employer-employee situation,
yes.
where we understand if you're an employer,
it's
this
a
is not the
career.
time.
It's a career.
You are not eating now also.
Yes, after 4 months. But your thing is that you're not supposed to have one company. It's impossible for one employer. He will have to want to get from the salary. The problem is that when the employer gets money from a salary, he's unable to see how well the business is doing because the salary is fixed. But with the dividends, it fluctuates,
and then he can see
But now you see, with 4 of them,
he gets money from different.
So he's able to see, okay, from the 3 I'm okay, but what's going on with this one? And that's an indicator to the employer that there's something wrong with the business. So he now has to pay a visit to the CEO, which ends up becoming an employee.
So I guess that's the challenge, because like when I'm looking at myself, at some point I feel like I'm doing a lot, but when we're speaking, I mean, it's not the first time you've been talking employee situation, but it's clicking. I'm doing both roles. I'm doing both roles, and it ends up being overwhelming because I'm also working, but I'm also overseeing, like as a CEO, and it's just too much.
Actually, I'm doing 3 roles.
Yeah, I'm doing. What's the third?
One that a lot of people don't like, sort of thing, is they're also doing the researching role.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Very subtle. Where you're coming up with these ideas, that's part of research. Coming up with ideas that, okay, now there's a market there, because you have to have some sort of research to say that, okay, whatever you're doing has potential. You base that, whether you do it actively, like, formally, or you just do it within just asking or looking, that is still some sort of research.
But then the thing is, I don't have money to pay people at the moment. The 4 businesses don't have revenue to pay other people. So I have to be CEO of employer
I won't work like
of
that.
company one. I'm a one-man team in all the 4 companies.
Yeah, no, that is crazy, because we have to also get comfortable with having teams. So us at I'm an African, we came up with a concept of having, like, an employer cooperative. So the concept is that having like a 5-position employer that deals with all of the different sort of functions that we think a SME should deal with. That is, it should have a CEO position, a PA or secretary position, and then there is
what's happening? Yeah, we had to move inside because we were losing light.
And then there is
lost the beautiful scene. Anyway, we are back inside and we continue. Make sure you like, you comment, and you subscribe and share. There are people who are gonna really use the information we're sharing here, so make sure you DM them the link to this video and follow us on all our social media pages. And brother man, so we're talking about the different
the employer
roles exactly in an organization.
The employer cooperative, that concept that we created. So what happens is that there's a CEO, there's a secretary, and then those form the more or less executive part of the cooperative, and then there's a functional part, which is going to be a marketing sales, there's going to be human resource operations and logistics manager, as well as it's going to be a finance manager. So what happens in a normal SME, what's supposed to happen is that first and foremost, I guess everyone set up the business con side of things should at least be there. But what happens now from your day to day is that the marketing guy is the one responsible for generating sales. That's it. The moment he's able to create some sort of order list, he's able to now pass it towards the operations guy. The operations guy now processes the list and then make sure the money gets to the finance guy. The finance guy registers that the same list that he was given by the marketing guy is the same money that was given by the logistics guy, and he sends it up to the secretary and then the CEO. But now these are employers. So in the beginning, in the startup process of the business, they are the ones that start up the business. They are the ones that, buy the building, they set up the offices, and they have the operations going. And then after they get it to a point at which they're able to, remember that number I was talking about? The moment they have that number and it's good enough, they can now go and switch towards debt financing. Debt financing is when you're able to now go get your operating cost from the bank, and then the bank will just merely add a sort of interest towards the yearly fee, which more or less means that you are supposed to be part of a growing market. So the amount of money that you pay at the end, or the revenue that you gain at the end of the year, is supposed to be more. So it's very important that you have an understanding of who your customers are. They can't just be random on Facebook. These people who just call you and say, no, you have to know their names, and you have to know how often do they buy from you. Why do they buy from you that often? Can they buy more? Or what sort of situation can you be able to create to be able to at least stimulate demand from their side so that they can be able to come to you? And again, that's the concept of
But then from the early stage, how do they get paid from the startup stage? Because that's where we are.
Payment now comes later.
Payment comes later.
Yeah, it's the same concept as planting. The harvest will come later
at some point.
Yeah, no.
So niggas gotta understand.
Yeah, that's planting. You can't just start planting tomorrow and then next month you think that goes there. Where they do that at?
Exactly.
Like, where they do that at? Nah, that doesn't make sense. You have to understand that it has to be more slow if it's going to be real. Just like when a baby comes into this world, it takes time, it takes care, it takes dedication, and that's the same concept that the employers have to have. You have to see your business as a baby, because you are not just going to have this. It's not a hustle. You understand? It's not a
long-term thing.
My children will be able to sort of, benefit from some, maybe indirectly or directly, from this particular thing that I'm doing. And you have to look at it like that. So I always give the concept that you have to limit your geographical focus in terms of market. So in the sense of limited towards maybe city council, but only focus within that city council. Don't go beyond it. And then second is that when you're able to sort of start pushing, don't invest too quickly. Find out how much you need in order for you to just to generate sales. What I mean by that is that I'm not getting profit, but at least I have 100 customers buying me every week.
And you're breaking even.
If you not even breaking even, as long as your
money is coming.
Yeah, because what happens is that your operations, or where you're getting your particular products, they might not have that sort of discount that you need because you don't have the money to be able to get there. But that doesn't mean that after you're able to get those 100 consistent, you are now able to go to the bank and show them that, you have got a history of things the 100. Here the 100, give me the money, and that's where you get it. So a lot of people don't understand that it's these 100 people that are more important than anything that they have. If you're able to go show the bank that, I can even come with my customers tomorrow. I talk to them, and they're coming. Yeah, you understand? So, and we have to be that pushy. But remember, we have to be resilient. We have to be persistent in our efforts. This thing about starting a fire and then now just putting off just because the wind blew this side. No, burn the forest. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like if we are going to, say that, Africa or everything, I guess maybe social media has some sort of, influence. But to me, I'm like, if you really want the stuff, then show it.
Exactly.
Push for it. But then again, remember that the world is much more bigger than you may understand.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's important for you to be able to understand the position that you play within this big sort of code and play that position best. Nature will take care of everything else.
Jim, it's been a pleasure. But before we end this conversation, what's the next big thing, the blowing up that you're cooking, bro?
Okay.
Tell us.
I'm not too sure. Bonke and then we'll have problems. Maybe I might say too much. Okay, let's see. So we have a couple of projects that we have up our sleeve. These projects are different in the sense that I'm trying to sort of, instead of using sort of funders or quote unquote, international funders, I'm trying to find a way in which we're able to actually jump on or on board on local sort of financial institutions like Bo Youth Fund as well as the commercial banks in order for us to create a sustainable model. Always waiting for funds from, the international organizations will slow down our progress when there's actually money here. We just have to be able to sort of create some sort of, synergy between the banks and us. And I feel like we have gotten to a point at which we sort of understand exactly what they need or the language that they speak, and we can be able to be that sort of, financial institution whisperer.
Financial institution whisperer.
Yeah, to be able to understand, okay, what's wrong? Okay, no problem. And then we actually go to the SME and then actually, break it down to them so that they understand. And then send them back and then let's see. But people have to understand that the banks are scared of you if this is a hustle.
Exactly.
This is just, I'm going to do this for 1 year. And no, give your blood, sweat, and tears. That is what any other sort of businessman has ever done. Why do you think you are different? Yeah.
I check.
So I think there are a couple of projects that are coming up. I think a lot of people should focus more on the Youth Chamber. So the Youth Chamber is an organization that us as I'm an African work with, and we will be able we like work with them directly. So we create research and help them be able to create different programs in order for them to be able to help out different youth with businesses within Eswatini. So we have a couple of projects coming out. I'm sure we'll probably create a special. Us Brema also have to get that exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive.
Come on.
What about us, Bob City? Yeah.
It's Prema. Yeah, but I think that's it. Other than that, we also have, interestingly, I guess a document that we're making that we feel is somewhat of the way I can put it best is like a letter from the ancestors to the Africans in the 21st century. So we have been able to sort of compile different perspectives, different views, and different sort of discoveries, scientific and spiritual, in a document that sort of encompasses lots of different religions, lots of different philosophies, lots of different perspectives to answer these three questions: personal development, I guess mental development, as well as spiritual development. The personal development encompasses the physical, but also the spiritual development encompasses the physical in terms of healing. The mental development encompasses not only the consciousness, quantum physics, but also, spiritual concepts such as faith, such as love. So we have quite, I guess, a series of documents that we're also going to be working with. Again, I would like to say that we'll be really pushing or working closely with Youth Chamber because that's the organization that we really work with in the country. So I think just stay focused on Youth Chamber. We have a lot of things that we have planned for the year coming up, and these things will be moving fast. We are going to start pushing more towards radio because we actually feel now within the organization that we've gotten to a point at which we are at our peak, and it's time that I guess the old phoenix dies and the new one sort of comes out from the ashes.
Maji, it's been a pleasure. Every time I come here, I'm always learning a lot, Maji. Make sure you check out I'm an African across all social media platforms. It's
It's African. I'm an African. I am African one. So just even if you go to Facebook / I am African one. If you go to Instagram, it's I am _African _organization.
You have the links. I'm gonna make sure also I link them down below. Also
the website. Don't forget the website. The website is www.africanmovement.org.za. That's www.africanmovement.org.za.
Yeah, make sure you follow because this is a blowing up organization, guys. You don't know if you have the ability to see in the future what's happening. We're out.
You kind of
came out.
Don't know where you touched it.
Oh, I touched the tail, bro. Anyway, make sure, guys, you subscribe to I'm an African. Make sure you follow them on all their social media platforms and regularly, and I mean this regularly, check their website because every day they're always posting crazy stuff. And from me, Kudzam Shambi and Allan Lloyd Hamusokwe, it's been a pleasure. And Vukani.
Come on,
Vukani on the camera. Vukani Dlamini, make sure you follow him. He's always doing fire things there by the camera. And guys, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe. Remember to share with your friends there. And from me, we're out. Peace.